Hi there everybody, Amir Kamkar here, herbalist and founder of Herbal Tea and Tonics. In this video, I like to share some background information about myself and also why I'm doing what I'm doing. Now, I was born in a small town in Iran in the Middle East to a very humble family. My mom and dad didn't have a lot of schooling, so the idea of education, especially higher education, was very appealing to me when I was growing up. So I went to university to become an electrical engineer. After graduation, I started working as an electrical engineer for a few years in Iran, and I decided to expand my vision and also to do some training. I went to New Zealand. I fell in love with the country and stayed there for 7 years and then moved to Australia. During all of these years, I was focusing on developing my career as an electrical engineer, and I stayed within that industry for a long time, doing different things, different roles in electronic industry, in lighting industry, especially industrial lighting. And although my income was healthy, the lifestyle was really good, working only 5 days per week, having vacations and getting all sorts of different perks. It was really good, comfortable lifestyle. However, deep down, I didn't really feel satisfied. Something was missing in my life. On the surface, you could see everything looks shiny. But deep down, I knew that I'm not 100% satisfied with my life. I was thinking about, okay, when I get to my 80s and 90s and beyond, what are the things that I really wanted to achieve? And if I achieved what I achieved by this age, at the time of thinking that, am I satisfied with my life and achievement? And the answer was no, really. So I started looking into my life. I was really lucky because I had a lot of interest in personal development. So I always, read books, went to seminars, followed many different gurus within the personal development industry, and I always had really good mentors around me. At that point of time, when I was talking to some of these mentors, one of them, very famous one, we went to see him in Canada and attend one of the seminars. So I went to his house and I asked him this question, how can you find your purpose in life? And his answer to me was like, well, you discover it, And I was thinking about this for a while. Came back to Australia talking to another mentor of mine, and he pointed out that you always had interest in natural health. Maybe you should look into that direction. Another mentor of mine, very spiritual one, he pointed out that in my mom's family, we had herbalists for 7 generations, master herbalists helping people using herbs. That's a direction that maybe, I need to have a look at. So I started doing a lot of soul searching to find out what is the missing point for me. And when I looked into using herbs as medicine, helping people, it started making sense to me. I remember growing up in the Middle East, using herbs was just a way of life. You get sick, your mom gives you herbal teas, or you get, congestion in your lung, they give you steam inhalation. You get parasites, they give you herbal enemas to look after you. So for me, I really didn't pay a lot of attention to these things because it was a way of life, really. I thought everybody is doing that. It's not a big deal. So I really overlooked that aspect of living in the Middle East and having all of these different herbs around me and all that until my mentor mentioned it to me. So I started looking into this, and it's really interesting. When you grow up in an environment, you take it for granted a lot of time. we grow up with so many different things in the Middle East, and I had memories of my grandmom, talking about some of these things, but it never really appealed to me. One of the things that I remembered from her, and she had a very interesting way of teaching us. They had a big house and big garden, and she had this beautiful Japanese honeysuckle. And she pointed out those beautiful yellow and orange flowers, and she mentioned, if you collect the black seeds from them and soak them in vinegar for a few weeks, and then plant the seeds, then the flowers become rainbow color. As a kid, it was like amazing to us doing this experiment and thinking, wow, what's going to happen to the color of these things? Why they change, And when I started doing a little bit of soul searching, all of these things started coming to me and started making sense. My love for nature, doing bushwalks, loving insects, looking into mushrooms and studying them, and, looking at them just as a hobby, nothing big. It started coming together. And I got to the point that I started doing my own studies. There are so many different schools of school of thoughts when it comes to herbs. You have Ayurvedic from India, traditional Chinese medicine. You have Western herbalism from North America and Europe. You have Unanist. You have Kampo from Japan. So when you start studying them, it could be a little bit confusing. However, for me, Western herbalism made so much sense because it was linked to scientific research, and being an ex-engineer, it just made sense to me. So I started doing Western herbalism, and also I did some studies on nutrition as well. And I decided to change direction. So when I started doing that, imagine you're going peacefully in that way in your life. All of a sudden you change direction and you go this way. Completely different way, 360 degrees change, really, starting from scratch. And some of the friends and family members looking at me at that point thinking, what's wrong with this guy? Maybe he fallen off a tree or something happened to his head, They didn't say much, but in a polite way, I knew what they meant. And to me, the idea of really helping people was a big deal. I felt that I really found the missing link in my life, why I wasn't really 100% happy. So I started moving toward that direction. And it was amazing how things started falling in place for me. Sometimes, when you move from your comfort zone to something completely new, it could be a bit challenging. But the way things were, falling in place for me really helped me to be of a help for people. And I really love to do things the way that I do for my family. Using certified organic herbs, handling herbs in a respectful way, handcrafting the herbal teas, and doing things like not adding anything to them, and putting things together in the way that nature intended. These are the things that I have passion for them, because that's how I live myself. We tend to get organic products, vegetables, or any product we use. We look into things that are preservative free, additive free, not genetically modified. And that's the way how I operate and use herbs to help people. So this is in a nutshell a little bit of background about myself and why I do what I do. I hope it made sense to you. And I really thank you for spending some time watching this video. I hope we meet one day and have a bit of chat. Until then, all the best. Thank you.